as the prayer said, that God is with those people and they get the water that is needed to put out the fires. So, Mikolot Mayim Rabim, page 141. Mikolot Mayim Rabim Adirim Mishpereyam Mikolot Mayim Rabim Adirim Mishpereyam Adir bamarom Adonai, Adir bamarom Adonai, Adir bamarom Adonai, Adir bamarom Adonai.
Adirim Mishpereyam Mikolot Mayim Rabim Adirim Mishpereyam Adir bamarom Adonai Adir bamarom Adonai Adir bamarom Adonai, Adir bamarom Adonai, Mikolot Mayim Rabim, Adirim Mishpereyam, Mikolot Mayim Rabim, Adirim Mishpereyam, Adir bamarom Adonai, Adir bamarom Adonai, Adir bamarom Adonai, Adir bamarom Adonai.
Page 138, Lechadodi. We're going to be doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. 1, 2, 5, and 9. And before the last verse, it's our custom to rise as we're able and face the entrance to the sanctuary to greet Shabbat, to bring Shabbat into this space. So page 138, and let's sing together.
Lechadodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Lekabela, Lechadodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Lekabela, Shamor. Lechadodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Lekabela, Lechadodi, לקראת קלה, בני שבת, לקבלה, לקראת שבת, לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, בראש מקדם לסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבת קלילה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת, לקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת, לקבלה, התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני אלייך נגלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת, לקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת, לקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת, לקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת, לקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בנה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת, לקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת, לקבלה. שלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, מלאכי השלום, שלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, מלאכי השלום, לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת, לקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת, לקבלה.
Don't sit yet. Sorry. Sorry. We're going to stay standing and turn to page 146, right? 146 for the Baruch Hu.
Et Adonai HaMevorach. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Your voices. Thank you. Thank you for your voices this evening. We're going to continue with Roll into Dark. It's on your handout.
Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Goleyom v'layla, golelor mipnei choshech, golelor mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei yom. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you. Right, awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So, I don't know if you know the rule, but the rule is whatever position you are in before you say the Shema, that's the position you stay in for the Shema. So if you're standing, you stay standing, and if you're seated, you stay seated. Okay, so you can stay seated. It's a real thing. I'm not just being funny. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Shem Kavod, Shem Kavod, Malchuto Leolam, Leolam
You will love Adonai, your God, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart. Shall be in your heart. You will teach them diligently unto your children. And you will speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you rise up, and when you rise up, and when you will bind them for a sign upon your hands. They will be for frontlets between your eyes, and you will write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gate, and upon your gates. You will remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
Let's turn to page 158 for Micha Mocha. Micha Mocha Bailim Adonai, Micha Mocha Nedar Bakodesh, Nora Tehiloto Seifele, Nora Tehiloto Seifele, Malchutecha Ra'u Vanecha, Okei Ayam, Lifnei Moshe uMiriam, Zeli Anu Lehameru, Adonai Yimloch Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai, Baruch Atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai, Baruch Atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai, Baruch Atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai.
כמוה נדר בקודש נורא תהילותו ספר נורא תהילותו ספר מלכותך ראו בניך בוקי הים מפני משה ומרים זה לי אנו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל ברוך אתה אדוני 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 ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל ברוך אתה אדוני
Page 160.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Lehamidenu shomreinu L'chaim l'chaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Behamidenu shomreinu L'chaim l'chaim Ufros aleinu sukat shomecha V'taknenu be'etza tova milpanecha V'hoshienu leman shemecha Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Behamidenu shomreinu L'chaim l'chaim Ufros aleinu sukat shomecha V'taknenu be'etza tova milpanecha V'hoshienu leman shemecha
Let's read together on the top of 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 164, we rise in body or in spirit as we are able. Yalalai, lai, 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 Adonai. Yalalai, lai, lai, Sefatai, Tiftach. Yalalai, lai, lai, Ufi Akid. Sifatai Tiftach. Yalalai, lai, lai, Ufi Akid. Ufi Akid Tehiratecha. Yalalai, lai, 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 Adonai. Yalalai, lai, lai, Sifatai Tiftach. Yalalai, lai, lai, Ufi Akid. Ufi Akid Tehiratecha. Yalalai, lai, 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 Adonai. Yalalai, lai, lai, Sifatai Tiftach. Yalalai, lai, lai, Ufi Akid. Ufi Akid Tehiratecha. Yalalai, lai, 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 Adonai. Yalalai, lai, lai, Sifatai Tiftach. Yalalai, lai, lai, Ufi Akid. Ufi Akid Tehiratecha. Yalalai, lai, 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 Adonai. Yalalai, lai, lai, Sifatai Tiftach. Yalalai, lai, lai, Ufi Akid. Ufi Akid Tehiratecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Konei Hakol, ve'Zocher Chastei Ahavot v'Imahot, Mevi Geola Livnei V'Neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ezrat Sarah, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Let's be seated. Let's read together on the top of 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. And may all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Our prayer for peace on page 178.
Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav Yisrael, Amcha tasim le'olam. Ki atahu melech Adon, v'chol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon, v'chol hashalom. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav Yisrael, Amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav Yisrael, Amcha tasim le'olam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael v'kol v'chol shah yishomecha. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav Yisrael, Amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav Yisrael, Amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav Yisrael, Amcha tasim le'olam.
We'll take a few moments now for our own silent prayers, meditations of the heart, reflections of the mind, and we'll come back together on page 180.
Oh, say shalom. Oh, say shalom. Oh, say shalom b'roma. Oh, say shalom. Oh, say shalom. Oh, say shalom b'roma.
Hallelujah, say shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Hallelujah, say shalom. Hallelujah, say shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imeru. Amen.
Oh, say shalom. Oh, say shalom. Oh, say shalom b'roma.
Ve'imeru. Amen. Ve'imeru. Amen.
Bringing into our prayers for peace, we think now of those in our midst who are in need of healing in mind, body, or spirit. It's our custom to just say the names kind of all at once and bringing those people into this space with our voices, or you can hold their names in your heart. We lift these names to God and pray that those individuals, their families, may find added peace, healing, strength, and comfort as our prayers are linked with theirs. Our prayer for healing is on our handout.
Dear God of our ancestors, help us renew our faith. Grant us a perfect healing. Bring peace to all our days. Elna Rifana La Rifana Lanu. Elna Rifana La Rifana Lanu. Restore our strength of body. Help clarify our minds. Refresh our tired spirits.
we celebrate the journey. This precious gift of life. And
Staying on our handout, we now are going to Achenu, our prayer for those who are in captivity, our prayer for those hostages who have been held in captivity now for 463 days. We are keeping them in our prayers and in our hearts. And in this space, Achenu, let's sing together.
Sarah ubashivya haondim bein bayam uvein bayabasha Achenu kol bet Yisrael Achenu kol bet Yisrael Hanetuni b'tzara, b'tzara ubashivya, ha'omdim bein bayam uvein bayabasha. Hamakom yirachem, yirachem aleihem, ve'otziei mitzara. Ubizman kariv Achenu kol bet Yisrael Achenu kol bet Yisrael Hanetuni b'tzara b'tzara ubashivya Ha'omdim bein bayam uvein bayabasha Hamakom yirachem, yirachem aleihem v'yotziei mitzara lirvacha u'me'avel aliora u'meshibun ligeula hashta b'hagala u'bizman kariv hashta b'hagala u'bizman kariv. May they be returned home speedily and at a near time. So
It is really very exciting for me, just so you know, Rabbi Lynn or Rabbi Goldsmith, I don't remember. Rabbi Lynn, because Rabbi Lynn is going to be speaking tonight and delivering a sermon, Devar Torah, and we actually spent our 4th year of cantorial and rabbinical schools together in Jerusalem, and we spent a lot of time together. We were good friends, so it was like really a happy accident that we're now in the same place. So wonderful. So I want to invite you up to share your words with us, and it's just very wonderful to have you with us. Here. Is that good?
Great, good to see you. Well, I was going to introduce myself, but I think Devorah did a really good job. And what she didn't mention is that we started our 4th year of cantorial and rabbinical school 20 years ago, this fall, which is absolutely amazing. I know, right? And that's actually a good segue, because that was what I was going to talk about. But I do want to say I'm delighted to be here, delighted to be with all of you, and I want to especially welcome all of my Anthem Ranch residents. This is amazing. It's like all the Jews in Anthem Ranch are here, so it's wonderful. So, well, here we are again at the beginning of a brand new year, the year 2025. We're 1/4 way through the 1st century of the 2nd millennium. So how many of you are in a state of bewilderment wondering, where did the time go? When someone talks about the 90s, people in my generation tend to think that was a couple years ago, right? Yet the 90s started 35 years ago. So remember 1965? I can see a lot of you do remember 1965, but those of you who don't, the Beatles were a top band. Skirts were getting shorter, and hair on both men and women were getting longer. LBJ was our president. He was talking about creating a great society. And 35 years before that was 1930. Now that seemed like a really long time ago for when we were sitting in 1965, and the year 2000 seemed like it was going to be forever. And now here we are celebrating the beginning of 25 years beyond the year 2000. And it's really hard for me to believe that we were worried about Y2K 2.5 decades ago. So time really does seem to speed by much, much more rapidly as we age. It's a phenomenon that my late father called the telescoping of time. So remember when we were kids and time seemed to just stand still? Summer vacations were long and languid. The school day, well, that could go on forever. And as our younger son would exclaim when I told him he'd have to wait for something, he'd say, "But Mom, that'll be 40 years. I never knew how he could make 30 minutes into 40 years, but I'm sure in his head it was. So even at our age, time is relative. I thought my adulthood was flying by until I entered Hebrew Union College to begin the 5-year rabbinical program. And I swear that time stood still for those 5 years. They were truly some of the longest years of my life. I thought they would never end. And one of our friends actually said that when we're young, that we only have experienced a really small fraction of our lives. So every year is distinct in our young minds. And for most of us, each school year was distinct and different. We remember the name of our first grade teacher and how in 3rd grade Billy broke his arm falling from the monkey bars and they called an ambulance to come and get him. And in contrast, our adult lives involve years of the same activities. We go to work, we come home, we have dinner, go to bed, rinse, and repeat. Our lives are marked by the big events like the birth of our children or the death of parents or close friends or things like COVID, or 9/11. And we remember events in the relationship to these important events. If someone asked me about 1986, I think back to 1983 when our first son was born, and then I moved forward through the 3 years of the event that we're talking about. And in Rob's and my case, we have to think about where we were living when the event happened. Our memories begin with, well, you remember we were living in Oneonta then, and then we go on from there. I think my friend was correct in many ways. A psychologist, Stephen Taylor wrote, As children, we have so many new experiences and so process a massive amount of perceptual information. Children also have an unfiltered and intense perception of the world, which makes their surroundings appear much more vivid. However, as we get older, we have progressively fewer new experiences. Equally important, our perception of the world becomes more automatic. We grow progressively desensitized to our surroundings. And I think he has a good point. Have you ever driven somewhere on autopilot? You have absolutely no memory of the drive when you arrive at your destination. But when you're driving to some place you've never been before, you're hyper aware of everything. You want to make sure you're in the correct lane. You want to make sure that you haven't missed that crucial turn. Excuse me. And you're aware of how long it took you to get to the destination. Dr. Taylor explained that the more information that our brains have to actually process, the slower the time will seem to go. Kids are constantly processing new information, while we, with our relatively repetitive lives, are not constantly seeing new information. Time is less stretched when we don't have new information. So if you go back to the driving example, when we're driving on autopilot, we're not paying any attention to the scenery. We're probably thinking about what we're going to make for dinner that night, or something that's happening in the office, or something our kids did that really drove us nuts. But if we're driving to an unfamiliar place, we really have to pay attention, or we miss an important meeting, or we waste time having to turn around because we missed that important turn. The commute where we're paying attention may just last just as long as the one where we're not paying attention, but our perception of the time is just very different. Now, I think as I look out, like a lot of you, I'm acutely aware that I have lived more of my life than I have yet to live. And I'd like to savor that time that I have left and not have it vanish into the ether, where I look back and wonder where that time has gone. So how do we keep time from running away from us? I would suggest you don't go to rabbinical school. But the obvious answer is to introduce new experiences and new people into our lives. It means learning new things, seeing new places, and meeting people who are different from us. I'm certain that the 5 years at the seminary seemed so long to me because everything was brand new, and I couldn't live on autopilot. And the experience in Israel, that year was really, really long because it really took me out of my comfort zone. Learning another language, or at least attempting to learn a new language, is another new thing we can do, and it has the added benefit of helping to stave off Alzheimer's. We don't need to travel to distant lands or change careers to slow time down. We can take up a new hobby. And I'm not talking about taking up pickleball or golf, but maybe taking courses at CU in subjects you didn't study in college, or subjects you wanted to study in college and couldn't because you had to do other courses for your major. I have to tell you that senior citizens have a special rate at CU, and it's very reasonable. Dr. Taylor also recommended meditation and mindfulness as antidotes to the perceived telescoping of time. Meditation does slow time and quiet the mind if you can successfully meditate. And I know a lot of people swear by its benefits. But I am one of those people who have what I call monkey mind. Our thoughts race around our heads, bouncing from one thing to another like a cerebral pinball. Meditation is an exercise in frustration. But even those of us with monkey mind can slow down by being more mindful in the present. I'm not advocating that we remain in the present at all times. That wouldn't be possible, and it would be terribly unproductive. But maybe paying attention to what we're passing as we're driving might be a good place to start. We live in one of the most beautiful places in the world. So just gazing out at the mountain peaks and appreciating their beauty is mind-slowing. I love to walk for exercise, and it does slow my mind when I look at the vistas around me, or even at those prairie dogs that are scolding me from their holes. And of course, as a rabbi, I need to tell you that prayer is a wonderful way to become more mindful. The Hebrew verb to pray is hitpalel, a reflexive verb that has a connotation of something that we do for ourselves or to ourselves. When we pray, we are talking to God, that spark of God that resides in all of us. And I think that the rabbis were really onto something when they decreed that we should pray 3 times a day. We need to take a pause from our daily lives to remember that we are just a small part, a teeny-tiny part of a much greater whole. As Rabbi Rachel Isaacs said, prayer is where I go to turn off the noise of life. It's where I go to connect to the one who made me and reminds me of what is true, right, and expected of me in this life. Now, our lives are truly a gift from God, but our life is finite. So I invite you to join me this new year to resolve that in December of 2025, we'll be able to look back and say that I have lived and appreciated this year, and I do know where that time went. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
I like the term monkey brain. That's monkey mind. Thank you so much, Rabbi Lynn. That was beautiful and very timely. And you gave me a new something to say about my mind, monkey mind. We are going to turn now to conclude our service, page 586, and then we're going to go right to page 591 after that, and we rise as we are able. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 591. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Let's be seated. We think of those of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. I invite you to please share the name or names of those loved ones of yours that you're saying Kaddish for this evening. Our custom is to say the name and to rise and say the name of those we're saying Kaddish for. We continue to remember those whose death occurred in recent weeks, whose Shloshim 30 days of mourning we still observe. Tracy Sarko Strimple, sister of Dan Sarko. Marilee Brown. Gary Prawl, father of Sarah Levy, and Roberta Reinfeld. And this week we had we found the bodies, the two bodies of hostages were found. Hamza al-Zalyadna, whose face has been on our bima for about 6 months, and his father Yusuf al-Zalyadna. They're Bedouin, and their bodies were found this week, and they were laid to rest. On this Shabbat, we commemorate the yahrzeit of the following: Alice Ginsberg Burkhoff, Jerome Bornstein, Abraham Burdick, Rose Cooperstock, Miriam Jaffe Epstein, Cesar Espona II, Julian Feldman, Edith Friedman, Leonard Goldstein, Harvey Jacobson, Stephen Johnson, Richard Cozen, Eileen Hirschfeld Immerman Lancy, Bill Lloyd, Nathan Math, Betty Catherine Onyet, Goldie Passamant, Irene Satin, Eric Shapiro, Jane Shapiro, Lillian Singer, and Paula Singer. Are there any names that were accidentally left off the list? May their memories be for a blessing. We rise and as we are able and say our Kaddish prayer together on page 598. Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei rabbah ve'alma divrach yirutei ve'amlich malchutei v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'alam ulalmei almaya yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yitpa'ar ve'yitromam ve'yitnaseh Viet Hadar, Viet Ale, Viet Halal, Shmei de Kudisham Brichu, the Ela Minkol Birchata Vashirata, Tushbechata Venechemata, Damiran Bealma Vimru Amen, Yehe Shlama Rabba Min Shmaya, Vechayim Aleinu Vel Kol Yisrael Vimru Amen. Ose Shalom Bimromav, Huya Ase Shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yoshvei Tevel, v'imru Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all the world, to all who mourn, and let us say, Amen. Can I have a seat? So I just want to say thank you to the band, Marcia, David, Noah, Norm, and Hannah, for just bringing in so much light today. I think it's like a little bit of a rough Shabbat, a lot of things going on in our world. And I really needed this Shabbat, and thank you for bringing so much light and music and joy. Because we are supposed to celebrate on Shabbat. We're told we're to celebrate Shabbat. So thank you for helping us do that. And I just want to say we're also going to have a lot of, where's my program? Well, the program's somewhere. Oh, here it is. There are a lot of things in the program. Tomorrow is Torah study, Shabbat morning services, contemplative Shabbat, and soul singing. Okay? Soul singing. Come. It's fun, I promise. It's worth getting up. It's probably worth getting up at that. And thank you to Rabbi Lynn for giving us your words this evening. So we're going to conclude with the words from our Siddur with Ein Keloheinu. And I wrote the page number down. Give me 1 second. 626.
Let Moshiachenu. Thanks, we give thanks to our God. Thanks, we give thanks to our God. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshiachenu. Blessed, blessed is our God. Blessed, blessed is our God. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshiachenu. Ein Eloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshiachenu. You are our God. You are our God.
You are our
You are our God.
You are our
You are our God. Ein Keloheinu.
Shabbat Shalom. And you don't have to wait for me for the motzi. Just whoever gets there first, go for it. Shabbat Shalom, folks.